I stand alone in the bridal suite at Willamette Valley Vineyard, staring at my reflection in the full-length mirror. My wedding dress fits perfectly, every seam and crystal exactly where it should be. The makeup artist outdid herself. My eyes look wider, my cheekbones more defined, my lips the perfect shade of rose. The white roses in my bouquet rest on the vanity, waiting. I check my phone for the 14th time in 20 minutes. No messages from Mom, nothing from Dad, not even a text from Logan. A soft knock at the door breaks the silence. Martha, the wedding planner, pokes her head in, her practiced smile barely hiding her concern. "It's time, Caroline. Are you ready?" My eyes drift to the window overlooking the ceremony space. 90 guests are seated in neat white chairs. The string quartet plays softly. Probablys and pottities haft. And in the front row, 3 empty seats stare back at me like accusations. They're not coming, are they? My voice trembles despite my best efforts. Martha's smile falters. "There's still time," she says, but we both know it's a lie. I take a deep breath and smooth the silk of my gown. Let's go. The doors to the garden open, and 90 heads turn to watch me walk alone down the aisle. I feel their sympathetic gazes like physical touches, little pats of pity that make my skin crawl. Some whisper behind cupped hands. Others offer encouraging smiles that only make the hollow feeling in my chest expand. My focus narrows to Ethan waiting at the altar, his eyes steady on mine. The love radiating from him is almost enough to push away the memory of my mother's voice 3 days ago. "We'll try, sweetie." Logan's firm has an event that weekend. Mom's dismissive tone had cut through the phone like she was declining a casual lunch invitation, not her only daughter's wedding. "I can pay for the flights," I'd offered, desperation clawing at my throat. "The hotel, anything. Please, Mom." In the background, Dad's voice had drifted through. "Tell her we're busy." Now, placing one foot in front of the other, I force myself to breathe. In, out. One step, another step. I will not cry. I will not give them the satisfaction, even in their absence. When I reach Ethan, he takes my hands in his. His fingers are warm, solid, real. "I'm here," he whispers, too low for anyone else to hear. "We're enough." For a moment, I'm 8 years old again, standing in our living room while Mom and Dad fuss over Logan's debate trophy. They position it carefully on the mantle, step back to admire it from different angles, take photos to send to relatives. My art contest certificate sits forgotten in a kitchen drawer. I'd shown it to them earlier that day, pride bubbling up, as I explained how the teacher said I had exceptional talent. Mom had glanced at it and said, "That's nice, honey," before turning back to the dinner she was preparing. Later, Dad had ruffled my hair absently. "Logan needs more support, he's going places," he'd explained when I asked why they went to all his events but missed my art showcase. "You understand, don't you, Caroline?" Caroline. And Mom, never missing an opportunity. "Why can't you be more like your brother? He focuses on what matters." I'd tried harder after that. Academic awards, college scholarships, business success, each achievement, a desperate attempt to turn their heads in my direction. Each one noted with distracted acknowledgement, if acknowledged at all. The ceremony continues around me. I say my vows, my voice growing stronger with each promise. I choose a future based on seeing each other clearly, I tell Ethan, the words carrying more weight than anyone, but he understands. When the officiant pronounces us husband and wife, Ethan's mother envelops me in a warm embrace. "You're one of us now, dear," she whispers, and something tight in my chest loosens just a fraction. The photographer captures us on the dance floor, Ethan twirling me under the string lights. His cousins join us, forming a circle of laughter and music. For moments at a time, I forget about the family-shaped hole in my celebration. I forget about the phone I've checked too many times. I forget about the explanations I've given to curious guests. At the reception, Sarah, my college roommate, raises her glass. "To finding the family who deserves you," she says, her eyes holding mine with fierce loyalty. A murmur of agreement ripples through the crowd. The truth of her words hits me like a physical blow. All these years, I've been invisible to the people who should have seen me most clearly. I've been chasing approval from those who never intended to give it. When the celebration quiets for a moment, I slip away to check my phone one last time. No missed calls, no messages, not even a token congratulations. Ethan finds me there, staring at the blank screen. "They missed something beautiful today," he says, wrapping an arm around my waist. I look up at him, at the man who has never once made me feel like I needed to earn his attention. I think of his family, who welcomed me without reservation. I think of friends who traveled across the country to stand beside me. I set the phone down. Their choice, I say, feeling lighter than I have in years, not my burden. And for the first time, I almost believe it. 2 years later, I leaned back in my ergonomic chair, staring at the notification on my computer screen. Acquisition of Crescent Motion Studio, finalized at $21 million. 2 years of negotiation, 5 years of building from scratch, and now validation in the form of 8 figures. My office door bursts open as my team floods in with bottles of champagne and plastic flutes. To Caroline. Jen, my creative director, raises her glass. The woman who built something from nothing while certain people weren't looking. I smile, clinking glasses with the 12 people who actually showed up for me, unlike my family. We're celebrating when my phone buzzes. A notification from Instagram Logan posting about his twins' private school fundraiser. I shouldn't look. I do anyway. There they are. Mom and Dad flanking Logan and his wife Hannah, their identical daughters in matching plaid uniforms. The caption reads, "Family tradition continues. 3rd generation at Westridge Academy." Dad's arm is draped around Logan's shoulder, Mom beaming at her granddaughters. I swipe through more photos. Logan's family vacation to Hawaii last month. The holiday gathering I wasn't invited to. Dad's retirement party. In each one, they look like the perfect American family minus one daughter. What's more telling than the photos is what they represent. The vacation rental in Maui costs at least $5,000 per week. Westridge Academy runs $30,000 per year per child. Logan's house in the background of several shots sits in a neighborhood where nothing sells for under $2 million. All funded by my parents' retirement savings and family investments, according to the gossip from distant cousins who occasionally remember I exist. Caroline? Jen touches my arm. We lost you for a minute. I lock my phone screen. Just checking messages. Where were we? The celebration continues around me, but I'm mentally calculating. Logan's law firm is moderately successful, but nowhere near the level that would support his lifestyle. My parents have been quietly propping him up for years, depleting their retirement to maintain his image. Meanwhile, my $21 million acquisition doesn't warrant so much as a text message. After the team leaves, I scroll through my parents' social media. Hundreds of posts about Logan's accomplishments, the twins' milestones, family gatherings. My existence is limited to a single birthday wish last year, a generic, "Happy birthday, Caroline," without even a photo. I close my laptop and make a decision. The next morning, I call my financial advisor. The Porsche Taycan metallic gray. I want to complete the purchase today. 3 hours later, I'm signing paperwork for a $135,000 car. It's extravagant, unnecessary, and exactly what I want. Not because I need my family's approval, but because I never needed their money. Back home, I take a single photo of the car in my driveway, the afternoon sun gleaming off its metallic finish. I post it to Instagram with a simple caption, "Dreams realized." For 3 days, nothing. Then on Wednesday afternoon, my phone lights up with a name I haven't seen in 5 years, Mom calling. My stomach tightens as I answer. "Hello?" Caroline. Mom's voice carries that particular blend of authority and urgency she reserves for family crises. "We need to talk. Family meeting tomorrow." "Family meeting?" I repeat, hearing the disbelief in my voice. "After 5 years of silence, you're calling about a family meeting?" "This is important." She pauses, and I hear Dad's voice in the background. "Tell her it's important," he says, as though I can't hear him. "What's important?" I ask. My wedding wasn't important. My business wasn't important. What exactly matters now? Mom's voice tightens. "It's complicated. Financial issues. We need to discuss it as a family." Of course. They saw the car. They know about the acquisition. Now suddenly, I'm family again. "Tomorrow at 2, I say before hanging up. The next morning, I slide into my new Porsche, the leather seat cool against my back. The drive to my childhood home takes 40 minutes, time enough to remember birthdays celebrated without me, achievements unacknowledged, holidays spent alone while they gathered without me. I park in the circular driveway, my metallic gray Porsche looking starkly modern against their traditional colonial. For a moment, I sit there, hands gripping the steering wheel. The last time I stood on that porch was 6 years ago. when I'd announced my engagement to Ethan. Mom had nodded politely while Dad checked his watch repeatedly, clearly waiting for me to leave. They've never needed me before. Why now? My phone buzzes with a text from Ethan. Remember who you are. Call me if you need extraction. I smile despite myself. Another notification appears, an email from Naomi Blake, the investor who believed in Crescent Motion when no one else would. Your worth isn't measured by those who couldn't see it. A final alert. My assistant confirming tomorrow's meetings. Don't let them take too much time. You have the production review at 4. Commoner. I take a deep breath, remembering my therapist's words from last week's session. Boundaries aren't punishments, they're protection. I straighten my shoulders and step out of the car. Before I can knock, the front door swings open. Mom and Dad stand there, their expressions shifting from annoyance to shock as they take in the Porsche behind me. You've done well for yourself, Dad says. Not hello. Not, I've missed you. Just an assessment of my financial worth. Yes, I reply simply. No hugs, no warmth. They lead me to the dining room table where Logan and Hannah already sit, their faces a study in calculated concern. Caroline. Logan nods, as though we spoke last week instead of 5 years ago. Let's get straight to business, Dad says, pulling out financial folders. I remain standing, my purse strapped tight in my grip, the only outward sign of the turmoil beneath my calm exterior. No. First, I'd like to know why I'm suddenly important enough to include in family discussions after being excluded from everything else for years. Mom and Dad exchange glances. Logan shifts uncomfortably. We can discuss that later, Mom says, her voice slipping into the dismissive tone I know too well. We have more pressing matters now. I'm not in a rush, I reply, still standing. And I'm not interested in being convenient family only when you need something. For the first time in my adult life, I see uncertainty flicker across my father's face. In this moment, I understand they need me now. And for once, I have the power to decide what happens next. The dining room of my childhood home feels smaller than I remember. Richard sits at the head of the table, hands folded like he's presiding over a board meeting rather than a family crisis. Elaine perches beside him, her posture perfect despite the worry lines creasing her forehead. Across from me, Logan slumps in his chair, his designer shirt wrinkled at the cuffs. Hannah sits beside him, a leather photo album open on her lap. It's foreclosure, Caroline. Richard's voice is firm, but carries an unfamiliar tremor. Logan's mortgage is 3 months behind. The twins' private school tuition is unpaid for the semester. I say nothing, letting the silence stretch. 2 years of no contact, and this is what brings us together. You need to help your brother. Richard slides a document across the polished oak table. Loan paperwork, already filled out. The presumption steals my breath. Think about your niece and nephew. Elaine's voice catches, a practiced hitch that once would have sent me scrambling to please her. They're just children. They shouldn't suffer because of financial difficulties. Logan leans forward, eyes narrowed. We're family, that's what family does. When one of us succeeds, we help the others. Hannah flips the album open wider, pushing it toward me. They ask about Aunt Caroline all the time. She points to photos of children I barely recognize, their faces shining at a birthday party I wasn't invited to attend. Maddie wants to know why you never visit. Richard clears his throat. We've done everything we could. Our retirement fund is. He trails off, exchanging a look with Elaine. We've been supporting them as best we can. The implication hangs in the air between us. My success means I owe them. My independence is selfish in the face of family need. I close the photo album and slide it back across the table. Where were you at my wedding? The question falls from my lips with surprising calm. Logan blinks. What? My wedding. 2 years ago. Where were you? Elaine's hand flutters to her throat. We were busy. Logan had that event with his firm. It wasn't convenient, Richard adds, as if commenting on a missed dinner party. I nod slowly, feeling something crystallize inside me. And yet here you are now, because you saw the Porsche on Instagram. You only contacted me because you saw the car. Logan's face flushes. That's not fair. Isn't it? I sit straighter, feeling the power of my financial independence in my spine. Where there once was anxious curve, there's steel. I built everything alone, every scholarship, every client, every late night. Where were any of you? Richard's eyes narrow. What's that got to do with the current situation? Everything. I fold my hands on the table, mirroring his posture. I'm listening. Tell me why I should write a check today. Logan slams his hand on the table. You always had to prove something. Always showing off how smart you were, how creative, how special. Some of us were just trying to live normal lives. Richard's hand settles on Logan's shoulder. Your brother had more potential. We had to nurture that. You were always so independent. We're still your parents, Elaine whispers, tears gathering in her eyes. Despite everything, you were parents in title only. My voice remains steady, surprising even myself. You missed my high school graduation. You missed my college scholarship ceremony. You missed the launch of my company. You missed my wedding. I tap the table with each missed milestone. You missed my life. And now you want to share in what that life has built. Caroline, Richard starts. You didn't build this success. I continue. You don't get to share it. My phone vibrates in my pocket. I glance down to see Ethan's message. You okay? Meeting running long. In our asso. The sight of his name brings back Naomi Blake's words when she invested in my startup. You don't need approval from anyone who can't see your light. I think of my team at Crescent Motion. Their faces shining as we toasted the acquisition. People who chose to see me, to support me, to believe in what I could build. In my briefcase rests the contract for the foundation funding, signed by the board last Tuesday. People who trust me with purpose, not just money. Richard slides the loan paperwork closer to me. We're only asking for what's reasonable. Family helps family. The interest rate is quite fair, Elaine adds, as if offering a favor. Logan's smirk returns, confident now. Blood is thicker than water, Caro. I stand slowly, deliberately. The motion draws their eyes, their bodies leaning forward expectantly. I reach for my briefcase and set it on the table with a soft thud. I've made a different decision, I say. Logan's eyes fix on my hands as I unlatch the briefcase. Richard shifts forward in his chair. Elaine's fingers twist the napkin in her lap. Instead of a checkbook, I withdraw a single document and place it on the table. This is the announcement for the Rivera Media Scholarship Foundation. $16 million to create opportunities for young women in digital media arts. I smooth the paper with my fingertips. The press release goes out tomorrow morning. 16 million? Logan chokes out the number. Named after Miss Rivera, my high school media arts teacher. The woman who attended my gallery showings when my family was too busy. The money is legally protected in a foundation trust. The board approved the allocation last week. Silence falls like concrete across the table. I'm helping girls who never got the applause I didn't get, I say, gathering my belongings. That's what family means to me. Logan's face contorts, veins standing out on his forehead. You're wasting it on strangers. On nobody girls who deserve better than what I got. I snap my briefcase closed. Girls who need someone to see them, to invest in them. My parents sit stunned, staring at the paper that represents millions they'll never touch. I pick up my phone, turning the screen toward them. A recording app displays an active timer, 36 to 14 and counting. I've also documented every manipulative message from today. I say quietly. Every threat, every demand, every guilt trip. Just in case anyone gets creative with legal claims against the foundation. I walk toward the door, my footsteps echoing in the silence. Behind me, I hear Logan's chair scrape back violently. You can't just leave. His voice cracks. We need that money. I pause at the threshold, not turning back. No, Logan. What you needed was to show up. At my graduation, at my company launch, at my wedding. I place my hand on the doorknob. But that opportunity has passed. The door closes behind me with a soft click that sounds like freedom. The Porsche purrs beneath me as I drive away from my childhood home, my knuckles no longer white on the steering wheel. The further I get, the steadier my hands become. I press the call button on my dashboard. It's done, I tell Ethan when he answers. They showed exactly who they are. 3. How bad was it? His voice fills the car, concern wrapped around each word. Exactly what we expected. I take a deep breath, feeling lighter than I have in hours. Logan lost his mind when I showed him the foundation paperwork. Dad tried to salvage the situation, but Mom just kept crying about family obligation. Are you okay? A fair question. I glance at myself in the rearview mirror, surprised to find no tears, no flush of embarrassment. only a clear-eyed woman looking back. I'm better than okay. For the first time, I saw them clearly, without hoping for something different. I'm proud of you, Ethan says. Remember, Foundation Board meeting at 9 tomorrow morning. Everything's ready for the press announcement. The timing had been deliberate. Establish the foundation legally, before any family confrontation. Schedule the announcement before they could regroup. No emotional pleas, just legal structures they couldn't penetrate. The Rivera Media Scholarship would be my legacy, not a family drama. I'll be ready, I promise before ending the call. The first message comes at 11:47 p.m. By midnight, my phone buzzes continuously with family emergency texts. I silence it and place it face down on my nightstand. The house is quiet except for Ethan's steady breathing beside me. I don't need to read their messages to know what they contain. Morning brings 6 voicemails from my mother, the progression evident in her tone from weepy pleas about family unity to sharp accusations of betrayal, culminating in threats about what people will think of a daughter abandoning her family in their time of need. You've dealt with worse? I tell myself as I apply mascara, the morning routine grounding me. My navy suit, the one I wore when signing the acquisition papers, hangs ready on the closet door. Ethan hands me coffee in my favorite mug. Logan's been calling business associates, he says, scrolling through his phone. And your dad tried reaching my uncle. Predictable. I take a sip, the coffee bitter but fortifying. They're moving faster than I expected, but not more cleverly. The Foundation Board meeting goes smoothly. 12 accomplished women from media and finance, all personally vetted, all committed to supporting young female artists. The press release is approved unanimously. Launch details finalized. The first scholarship recipient will be selected in 6 months. I'm reviewing the event venue proposal when Janine from reception calls. Miss Rivers, your family is here. They're causing quite a scene. Through the glass walls of my office, I can see security already moving toward the lobby. I straighten papers that don't need straightening. Have security escort them out, please, calmly and professionally. I watch through the windows as my mother's voice rises over the general office hum. My daughter is abandoning her family. Her hands gesture wildly, her pearl earrings swinging with the motion. Logan stands beside her, arms crossed, face flushed with the particular shade of red it used to turn when he was denied something as a child. My team watches me for cues. I stand, smooth my skirt, and walk to my office door. It's being handled. I tell them with a calm I've practiced for this moment. Let's continue with our work. Security escorts my family toward the elevators. Logan's voice carries back. This isn't over. We have family obligations you can't just ignore. That evening, I draft a single email to all 3 of them. I have documented your harassment at my workplace. Any further attempts to contact me at my office will result in a formal complaint. All communication regarding family matters must be directed through my attorney, whose contact information is attached. Caroline. Direct and clear, says Patricia, my therapist, 2 days later. We sit in her sunlit office, the faint smell of jasmine tea between us. How did it feel sending that? Necessary. I trace the pattern on the armchair. Not satisfying. Exactly. More like setting a boundary, she offers. Yes. I look up at her. They're showing who they've always been, aren't they? People tend to reveal themselves under pressure, Patricia says. What you're seeing now isn't new behavior, just intensified. The realization washes over me, simple but profound. I wanted their love, but they wanted my resources. That's an important distinction. All those years, my voice trails off as connections form. The childhood neglect, the absent parents, the way they appeared only when I had something to offer. It wasn't my job to earn their love. It was their job to give it freely. Cly. And now? Now I know I'm not responsible for fixing them, I say, feeling the truth of it settle in my bones. There's freedom in that. The next morning brings news that Logan has contacted the Portland Chronicle about a family dispute. The reporter, smarter than Logan anticipated, asked why none of them attended my wedding. The resulting story paints a picture Logan hadn't intended of parents absent during milestones suddenly interested when money appeared. My mother's social media rant generates an unexpected wave of support for me. Former classmates, business associates, even distant relatives reach out with messages of solidarity. We always wondered why they never talked about your success, writes a cousin I haven't seen in years. Richard's attempts to contact my investors fizzle when they refuse to discuss a personal matter. The community rallies around the Scholarship Foundation instead, with applications already pouring in months before the official launch. The Portland Business Journal requests an interview about the foundation. I agree. Setting clear parameters, we'll discuss the scholarship's purpose and impact, not family matters. The reporter, Delia Warren, meets me at the foundation's temporary office space. This is an impressive initiative, she says, reviewing the prospectus. $16 million is substantial seed funding. What inspired such generosity? I consider my words carefully. I had a teacher who saw potential in me when others didn't. Miss Rivera changed my life by simply paying attention. I want to create that opportunity for young women who might otherwise be overlooked. You've built an impressive career, Delia notes. Crescent Motion's acquisition was one of the biggest tech stories last year. Is your family proud? The question hangs between us. I could dodge it, redirect to safer territory. Instead, I meet her eyes directly. My success was built without family support. They weren't at my wedding, my graduation, or when I sold my company. Delia's pen pauses. That provides interesting context for the foundation's mission. Later that week, the article appears with the headline, "Self-Made Success Creates Legacy of Support." The contrast between my generosity and my family's entitlement becomes public narrative. When news of Logan's house foreclosure breaks days later, the community connects the dots without my saying a word. Ethan handles increased security protocols at our home. My business team manages communication strategy, filtering messages and prioritizing foundation work. Naomi Blake, my first investor and mentor, releases a statement supporting my commitment to lifting others rather than enabling dependency. My college friends form a protective circle, filling our calendar with dinners and events that leave no room for dwelling on family drama. Patricia provides anchoring during weekly sessions. The United Front becomes its own kind of family chosen, intentional, supportive. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I received the Business Leadership Award from the Women in Media Alliance. Standing at the podium, looking out at faces that genuinely celebrate my success, I realize the tables have completely turned. My parents' retirement plans are now delayed indefinitely. Hannah's social position in her precious country club circles has eroded with their financial collapse. Logan's twins will transfer to public school next semester. Meanwhile, the foundation thrives, generating positive coverage that spreads beyond Portland. The story resonates not because I sought revenge, but because I chose to transform pain into purpose. The scholarship committee has selected 3 finalists for the first award. Janine tells me, placing the portfolios on my desk, they'd like your input by Friday. I open the first file and begin reviewing the work of a young woman whose teacher noticed her talent when no one else did. The circle completes itself, healing through action rather than looking backward. Family defined by what it does, not what it claims to be. For the first time in my life, I feel truly seen. In weeks to follow, I deleted the 4th voicemail from Aunt Meredith without listening past her plea of, "Everyone misses you, Caroline." The Thanksgiving invitation sits in my email inbox. Its subject line, "Family needs to be together," a transparent attempt at manipulation. My phone chimes with a text from my cousin Drew. "I don't understand this rift between you and Uncle Richard. Can't you just talk to them?" Of course he doesn't understand. He wasn't at my empty wedding. He didn't witness 20 years of invisibility. A letter arrived yesterday from Mom, the elegant handwriting unmistakably hers. "We always believed in you," she wrote, as if rewriting our entire history. The envelope sits half-burned in my fireplace, its edges curled and blackened like the lies it contains. "Dad called my office directly last week. We need to clear the air," he said, his voice lacking any acknowledgement of what they'd done. My assistant, following strict instructions, told him I was unavailable, permanently. The final straw comes when Logan sends the twins to my office with handmade cards. "We miss Aunt Caroline," written in childish handwriting I know isn't theirs. The manipulation is so transparent it makes my stomach turn. They're using every emotional lever they can find. Ethan observes that evening, examining the cards on our kitchen counter. They're desperate. I flip through the week's collection of attempts, but they still haven't actually apologized. The family attorney calls next, his voice professionally neutral. "There are moral obligations to consider, Caroline. Family ties carry certain responsibilities." The implication is clear. I'm the villain in their story. the heartless daughter who abandoned her struggling family. Pastor Wilson from the church I stopped attending years ago leaves a voicemail. Your parents are deeply concerned. Perhaps we could meet to discuss reconciliation? Two childhood friends, neither of whom I've spoken to in a decade, suddenly reach out. Your parents seem so heartbroken, says one. The holidays are for forgiveness, says the other. When Logan's wife Hannah emails photos of the twins in Halloween costumes, the children ask about you constantly, I nearly throw my phone across the room. They're framing this entire situation as my responsibility, I tell my therapist during our weekly session. My forgiveness, my duty, my failure to be the bigger person. And how does that make you feel? She asks, her eyes steady on mine. Angry, I admit, but also, validated? They wouldn't fight this hard if they weren't afraid of losing control. The foundation selection meeting provides an unexpected challenge. The committee recommends a scholarship for Maya Harrison, a 17-year-old filmmaker whose application video shows remarkable talent and painful familiarity. She reminds me of myself. I tell Ethan that night, quiet, determined, overlooked. I watch her interview video again. Maya's eyes hold the same wariness I see in my own wedding photos. She talks about finding her voice through filmmaking when her family couldn't hear her. What if I'm wrong to cut them off completely? The question slips out before I can stop it. Ethan sits beside me on the couch. What brought this on? Maya, if I'm telling these girls to find their strength, am I modeling that by running away from my family? Is setting boundaries running away? Ethan asks. I consider this. No, boundaries aren't abandonment. What would you tell Maya if her family treated her like yours treated you? The answer comes easily. I'd tell her she deserves people who see her worth. The Thursday before Thanksgiving, I host dinner at our home. The dining room table extends to accommodate everyone. Ethan beside me, Naomi across from us, my business team scattered between. Maya sits at the opposite end, her scholarship certificate framed on the sideboard behind her. Our home glows with warmth my parents' house never had. Candles flicker in silver holders, laughter rings against the ceiling. No one here needs to prove their worth to be seen. I raise my glass. To those who see us as we are. The toast echoes around the table. My phone stays off, notifications silenced. The meal unfolds in perfect rhythm, conversations flowing without the undercurrent of judgment I grew up with. Over dessert, I announce the Foundation's new mentorship program. I'll be personally involved with each recipient, I explain. We're creating connections that matter. Maya's eyes widen. You'll be mentoring us yourself? Every step of the way. I smile at her. This foundation isn't just about money. It's about building something meaningful together. Naomi nods approvingly. You've created structures that can't be interfered with. The foundation's independence is legally secured. I confirm. Its success will be measured by impact, not approval. Later, as we clear plates, Ethan turns on the local news. Right on schedule, the feature about the foundation airs strategically timed to coincide with my family's traditional dinner hour. On screen, I speak with confidence I've earned. We build family through action, not obligation. The report transitions to financial analysis, contrasting the foundation's transparent governance with examples of mismanagement, including a not-so-subtle reference to Logan's business failures. Maya watches, transfixed. They're actually comparing your brother's company to the foundation? Facts speak for themselves. I stack dessert plates with steady hands. The community has validated what my family refused to see. The following morning, my parents request a meeting at a coffee shop downtown. I arrive in the Porsche, the car that triggered their sudden interest after years of silence. Dad looks older than I remember, defeat etched into lines around his mouth. We should have been there, he admits, staring at his untouched coffee. At the wedding? I ask. Though I know that's not all he means. Everywhere. His voice cracks. All those years. Mom's eyes shimmer with tears. How can we fix this? The question hangs between us. 3 months ago, I might have grabbed at this opening, desperate for any acknowledgement. Now I feel only calm clarity. Some things can't be fixed, I tell them. Only accepted. Mom flinches. I'm not closing the door forever, I continue. But I need accountability, not convenience. I'll consider limited contact after you both start therapy. That's unnecessary, Dad begins, the old dismissiveness rising. It's non-negotiable. I sip my tea, the warmth spreading through my chest like certainty. They exchange glances, the silent communication of people who never expected consequences for their choices. Logan's financial collapse has stripped away their illusions of his superiority. My success exists beyond their reach. The foundation thrives independent of their approval. When they leave, no agreements have been made, no concessions offered. I watch them walk to their car, a sensible sedan now, the luxury vehicles long gone. I drive away without looking back, freedom replacing obligation in every beat of my heart. The foundation awaits. Maya's project needs review. My chosen family expects me for dinner. For the first time, I'm moving toward something instead of away from someone, and that makes all the difference. I stand in the sunlit studio of the Crescent Foundation, watching Maya adjust her camera settings. The morning light filters through the tall windows, casting golden patterns across the polished hardwood floor. It's been a year since I faced my family for the last time. What do you think about this angle? Maya looks up, her eyes bright with the same creative fire Miss Rivera once saw in mine. Try moving it slightly to the left. Catch how the light falls across the subject. My voice carries the confidence of a mentor now, not the desperate plea of a daughter seeking approval. On the wall behind Maya, photos document our scholarship recipients' projects, stories they never could have told without the Foundation's support. Each frame represents a voice that might have been silenced, just as mine nearly was. My office here replaced the childhood bedroom, where I once dreamed of being seen. Every element from the ergonomic chair to the awards, displayed without apology on floating shelves, I chose deliberately. Nothing inherited, nothing tainted by obligation or guilt. I've finished the final cut of my documentary, Maya says, straightening up. Would you watch it with me? We move to the editing bay where her project plays on the high-definition monitor. The documentary follows 3 generations of women in a rural Oregon family, their struggles and resiliences beautifully captured through Maya's lens. Watching her work, I feel a swell of pride entirely different from anything I've known before. This isn't about me. It's about what she's created, what she'll continue to create. When the final credits roll, Maya turns to me, tears brightening her eyes. You're the reason I believe I can do this, she says, wrapping her arms around me in a spontaneous hug. I think of Miss Rivera, how she recognized something in me when my own parents couldn't be bothered, how her belief sustained me through years of family indifference. Now the cycle continues, not of neglect, but of genuine support. Later that week, I stand at the podium of the Portland Arts Center, accepting a Community Leadership Award. The audience applauds. A sea of faces turn toward me with appreciation, not pity. Ethan sits in the front row, beaming with unrestrained pride. There are no empty seats causing me pain tonight. No phantom family members I wish were here. Every person in this room sees me, truly sees me for who I am. Thank you, I begin, my voice steady. This journey began in invisibility and has led to impact. For years, I measured my worth by the approval I couldn't earn from people who refused to give it. I pause, let my gaze sweep across the room. Now I measure it by what we build together. The standing ovation washes over me like a cleansing wave. My therapist calls it post-traumatic growth, this strange peace I've found after accepting that some wounds never fully heal. I maintain careful boundaries with extended family. Holiday gatherings now center around chosen family, celebrations filled with genuine joy rather than dread. Ethan and I have established our own traditions. Naomi's retirement party at the Foundation last month brought together the circles of support that lifted me when blood ties failed. The emergency fund for students facing financial hardship, my latest project, ensures that talent isn't crushed by circumstance. I understand now what these young women need because I lived without it: unconditional belief in their potential. Driving home through Portland in my Porsche, I pass the coffee shop where I once edited videos on a borrowed laptop. Through the window, I catch a glimpse of my parents walking on the sidewalk. Our eyes meet briefly. I don't stop. There's no pain in this moment, only peaceful acknowledgement. They taught me what love isn't. Ethan and my work taught me what it is. Tomorrow, Maya sets up for her next project. I'll be there, camera in hand, showing her techniques I've mastered over years of making myself visible. Family isn't who raises you, it's who lifts you.